This is the part where I advertise Linux. I'm using it right now. Look at me.
No.
It's
That's a
free
different episode.
and open source.
Okay.
And now it works. Now it's better than what it
Okay,
was.
so
It doesn't work.
first off, we got Max here. You know, maybe you remember him.
It's okay if you don't. I won't judge.
Anyway,
Nobody saw that,
so
right? Good.
what like toys do you remember from your childhood, or still have?
Well, the one I have, it's something I rebought off of eBay because the original I wore out to pieces. But it's a little stuffed basset hound. It was called Baxter's. This little dude that you got for free by smoking a bunch of cigarettes. I don't smoke, but my great grandmother smoked like a freight train. So she bought enough cartons. I guess I don't remember. I have to ask my mom how it was. Apparently, she bought enough things that would get her just a free stuffed animal, if I remember right. And then so they got it, and then one day it was just in my parents' attic, and my baby brother was in a crib. So, my mom gave him some toys, and I look in there and I say, yo, there's a basset hound in there. And I'm like this tall. So I go over there, my brother's in there doing this thing, and I just reach in there, just struggling, because I'm like 2 feet tall. And I obtained this toy, and I kept it for myself. I would tote it everywhere I go. I would take it to I take it to sleep, take it to outside, just take it everywhere. The thing, by the time of course, after years of doing that, the whole thing rotted, fell apart. Never saw it again. But until I rebought it off eBay.
Yeah.
But of that one, that's probably my fondest childhood memory because I toted it everywhere I get. I don't know how to describe what it is. I don't know if he was a sponsor of Marlboro. Or not sponsored here. But I don't know what the condition was that you got it, but you had to smoke a butt ton of cigarettes to get this toy. So that's how I ended up with it, because I stole it from my brother's crib that my great-grandmother had gotten because she smoked a butt ton. But I take it and then I accidentally threw it on my grandma's house one day. My uncle had to go get it. Because, I like to throw things outside. He goes, he can fly. This is part of the reason he fell apart. And he landed on the roof of my grandma's house. And, I couldn't get it, so I'm out there like, no, he's on the roof! So my uncle grabs a ladder, he comes up there, and he goes and gets it. But essentially, all that backstory, he's just a basset hound. Greatest dog breed. They're stinky animals, but they're so nice.
But now we have the missing lore piece why he is called Bax.
Yeah, the bin comes from the other stuffed animal, Benji. He wasn't as cool as Baxter, but, that one was just given to me by my mom.
Baxter and Benji. Sounds like some kind of kid's cartoon.
Maybe it was. I don't know. In theory, to my knowledge, they weren't paired together. I don't think they were.
Alright, what else we got?
Let's see. I'm sure everyone remembers Furbies, them cursed little birds that went, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And shove your finger down his throat, and he goes, wow.
No,
Baxter's.
I don't have the Furby avatar anymore.
I do. Hold on, I can do this. I've got too many avatars. Let's see. I'm going to be really small.
Oh!
My Furby didn't look like this, though. Mine looked more cursed. But you get two of them, you sit them together, and they just kind of stared at each other. And sometimes they would talk. They didn't work all the time. Yes. I don't even think these moved. I think they legit just sat there. They couldn't do anything besides move their ears.
Bringing that up brings me to the memory of, my grandma used to collect them. She had okay, you need to change back. I can't look at this.
What's wrong? Could you not like my Furby form?
Get away from me!
Ah! I can't find my avatar. I'm stuck this way.
My grandma used to collect those a lot, and I remember I had at least one of the original ones. I don't know what happened to it. I'm guessing it broke over time or ended up at a yard sale or something. And the um I remember the second wave of them. By that I mean the new editions that came out in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I had those.
Me and my sister each had one, and it was kind of cursed, but it still felt familiar enough, and it was kind of, we didn't really know how we would get the old ones at that time. Like now you can just get them on eBay or at yard sales, but weren't really being sold too much back then.
I had some of the new Furbies. They were bigger, and they were easier to get to talk to each other. The original ones, I'd set them there, and they just look at each other. They wouldn't talk. Sometimes they would, but I don't know what we got to get them to do it.
And then there was the new ones that came out like a couple years ago, and they look awful.
Yeah, we don't talk about them. They're weird. They're all evil. Possessed little creatures.
Yeah. Stupid belts, like, twisted. Alright, what else?
McDonald's Happy Meal toys.
I remember I had, when the Emperor's New Groove came out, I remember there's this one, it was Cusco's throne, and then Cusco was in it, and if you like pushed a button or pulled something, it would just launch him on wheels, like off the throne. You just go shh. It's really stupid.
For cheap novelty toys, them older ones were pretty well put together. Because they actually did stuff. They didn't just sit here and pose their arms. They were cool. They flew. They made noise. They launched themselves at Mach 3. It was fabulous. They didn't do that, but it was Mach 3 to a kid.
Yeah.
Do they even still give Happy Meal toys?
They do, but they're lame. Like, they don't move or
Okay.
anything. It's just like a figure that's just like this.
I remember when the Shrek movie came out, I won a gigantic... Was one the word? I got a gigantic Shrek toy in the Happy Meal, and my brother got another, and I just make them fight, clash into each other. And those things are actually more durable for cheap fast food toys. I just make them fight each other, and it never broke. And they talked.
I see.
But Shrek went in the 90s, was he? Well, kind of. Shrek itself was 2000-something, but apparently there was a Shrek from the 90s.
They started development, actually, in the early 90s, and doing animation tests and stuff like that. And then, I think part of the one big milestone that they had to, delay it was the original voice actor for Shrek passed away, so they had to go get Michael Myers.
Yeah, fun fact, Shrek's name is Mike Myers. Isn't that something? Copyright infringement. Ouch. Alright. Now, what about consoles? Is that a toy? Is the Genesis a toy, or is it a machine?
No, not really. I mean, they're kind of toys, but, that's kind of a whole other can of worms.
Sega did, but Nintendo don't. Let's go. We lost.
But yeah, were there any other Happy Meal toys, or is that all you got?
Well, the other Happy Meal toys I remember more later, like Finding Nemo. He was pretty durable, too. You just make him for fish and go... But yeah, them old school toys, they were built to last. Well, not built to last, but they were sturdy. What else do I got here? Well, there's always the class. Well, I don't think we ever had them. There's little army men that you'd find in yard sales. You just get them here. You just sit there, and you just kind of knock over who you say is going to get shot and who doesn't.
We actually found one when we moved in. We had all these leaves we had to clear, and once we cleared it, and the grass started growing up, and we were going through different areas, we came across it was like a 50s or 60s army man. He's got a grenade in one hand, and he's just getting ready to throw.
Is it plastic, being that old? I guess it is.
It's plastic. Very,
Darn.
very, very dark green. But it's kind
Did you keep it, hopefully?
Oh, I kept it. It's somewhere.
Yay.
But yeah, I'll have pictures of it. Like, over somewhere.
I'm gonna have to go buy some Army then.
No,
Just
is
so
that
I
all
can
you
just
got?
sit there and go. Well, let's see. I used to. So, it wasn't really a toy, but unfortunately. So, when episode 1 of Star Wars came out, they made a Darth Maul bank. You put a coin in and he'd just start dancing, doing whatever. But I broke the bank. But the OG bank, they'd made a replica of it, and the replica's, the legs don't move. But the OG bank, he was all jointed. So when he broke, he became an action figure. Like, you could pose him, do whatever. So I accidentally crafted one of the greatest toys ever out of Darth Maul, piggy bank. And I made him kick off Spider-Man's head by accident.
Multiverse.
So I used to have a thing, I'd like to make my toys fight each other. I get these posable toys, and Darth Maul was real sturdy. So he took his leg, he did a roundhouse kick, somehow I made him roundhouse kick Spider-Man, knocked his head clean off. But after this Darth Maul also suffered an injury of his own. As durable as he was, his arm fell off, because he was always getting beat up by Spider-Man. So I fixed him by taking a wooden thing and just hammering the joint back together so his arm could move again. Not really a toy, but the bank was pretty sturdy. I guess this turns into old stuff was sturdier versus what they are now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the same Darth Maul toy, I had another toy as a Star Wars character. And then, of course, I made him fight. And he roundhouse kicked him and chopped his whole body in half. He roundhouse kicked him, the toy falls split in half, and he just dies. And I fixed this toy by taking some nails and a hammer, and I nailed the toy back together. Just so they could continue to fight each other. Little tiny nails that you could get for build-it-yourself 4x4 Jeep, or whatever it is, for kids. But I had nails left over. This was, of course, when I was a kid. I'm like, yo, I'm so smart. So I blacksmithed this dude back together, and they were able to fight another day. 90s toys were durable. Let's go. Oh, and then there's Buzz Lightyear. I had a Buzz Lightyear, too, and he died because I recreated the part of the film where he broke his leg.
Oh, damn.
And this, unfortunately, is probably one of those actually worth money. Oh, no. I was outside playing with him. I was like, yo, he can fly. I took him, I threw him up in the air. He's flying. He lands and just dies. His leg breaks. They look just like this. It did that, too. He didn't do this, though. I don't know if any Buzz could actually do that, though.
Nah, they've not made a single one that's aside from I think there's this Japanese toy that can do it, but it's because it doesn't really have there's all sorts of there's a whole computer chip inside here and the batteries and stuff. So there's no place for this to go all the way in.
But I unfortunately broke my OG Buzz Lightyear because I was too destructive. I'm like, go, Buzz, go. He flew, his wings are out, but turns out he can't just fall. He can't actually fly. And I broke his leg. Unfortunately, though, I could not nail him back together.
Darn. Alright. That all?
That I can think of at the moment. The Hot Wheels count. I had some of them. A few of them, they went...
Indeed. I'm sad.
Except we couldn't afford Hot Wheels. We had the Kmart versions. It don't. Oh, no, it don't.
There is another one that does have it, but it has some, I think, too many pickups in it, and it's very laggy.
Oh. Also, my Buzz Lightyear's head didn't squeak if you hit it. It just squished.
I see.
So I would sit there and just smush his head. He looked deformed. But I think that's all I can remember for the time being.
So I'm going to start my segment with stuff that I no longer have. and these pictures are just going to be grabbed off the internet. I had once upon a time an original 1990s Furby. As I said earlier on, my late grandmother was a collector of cursed toys, decorations, so she had a whole bunch of Furbies, knickknacks. She had a little Christmas tree with a sensor that would it had eyes and a mouth, and it would sing Christmas songs off of a cassette tape. Uh, I want to get one of those. I think they're called Gemma's Christmas trees or something with a G. I don't know what happened to the Furby. I'm going to assume, and this is a common trope throughout the rest of my toys here, a lot of stuff broke. It ended up in the trash, and some of it ended up in yard sales. But moving on to the Toy Story and Beyond toy line, the lost episodes specifically, there were these 2 Buzz Lightyears that I had. The reason I ended up with these is I wanted the utility belt Buzz that came out when Toy Story 2 came out, but the belt didn't actually do anything. It was just cosmetically there and had no actual function. So it was no different from a regular Buzz Lightyear. So I just ended up not getting a hold of that. Honestly, not too heartbroken about it. Now that I've grown up, I understand that it had no additional features. Lego Technic. I had an R2-D2 from that. Funny enough, it was the cheaper option versus what I wanted, which was some remote control thing that I'm guessing was over $100 or something. Maybe more. That I don't know what the brand was, but I just think it's funny that Lego was the cheaper option. That thing constantly fell apart. The little pieces would not hold together that well. Some stuff I tried gluing, but eventually I think I lost enough parts that it just ended up getting tossed. And in the vein of Bionicles, I had originally, because I only got into it when after the first movie came out, I had Tahu, Gali, Liwa, and Kopaka from the Toa Nuva line. I had the Takua and Puku set. That, I know for sure, I lost parts on it, fell, and it just ended up in the trash. I'm pretty sure. Next, the Metru line. I had Vakama, Wenua, and Anua. Wasn't, able to collect all of them. I didn't get any of the Vaki or anything else. I did want Toa Likan, but I don't know. By the time I knew of its existence, I think it was either sold out or something. The Toa, Anika, and Mari lines, I have all 6 Toa from both lines. I had. I had a couple of the Matoran that came out alongside the Toa Anika that repurposed the Metru masks, which I'm going to say is just the laziest shit I've seen. At least color the masks differently. Do something. It's just, yeah. For the Paraka, I had Hakan, Avak, and Thok. If I'm pronouncing those wrong, don't hurt me. These guys weren't in the movie, so I didn't really have a pronunciation thing anywhere that I could see. One of the Baraki I had, I think it was the white one. I think. Don't know what his name was. I believe the second Toa Nuva line, I think there was called the adaptive armor in the books or something like that. I don't really know what the actual line was called. I think I had all of them. And I had the Shadow Takanuva. And before I ended up selling all of these at a yard sale for pennies, I did end up with some of the Toa Nuva and Toa Mata back in my collection. Came from a yard sale. But then I just got tired of all of these things. I had a whole phase where I was like, I don't want toys anymore. I'm growing up and stuff. And I just threw them all in a yard sale, and I got next to nothing for them. And This is why I want a time machine so I can go back and kick myself in the ass and then just take all of those back. Pounce the Beanie Baby is something I had when I was way younger, along with Amber the Beanie Buddy. Amber was my favorite of the two. I constantly was carrying her around, uh, in my younger years and stuff. And I this is I actually do have these somewhere. I just don't know where. Anyways, back to stuff I no longer have. Toy lightsabers. I had a couple of those. I had this Qui-Gon Jinn lightsaber from 1999 when Phantom Menace came out. I know specifically what happened to most of these. So this in particular, the blade loosened to the point where if I would go like fight somebody and I'm literally just like this, I just go, psh, the whole blade would just fall apart. So it got kind of stupid to keep around and eventually ended up in the trash. Attack of the Clones came out. I got Anakin and Count Dooku's lightsabers. I know Dooku's broke first. It was something with the connection of the, like, you would twist off a piece to get to the batteries, and like something in the connection broke or whatever, so you couldn't like turn it on anymore, and so that got trashed. Anakin's survived much longer, but it got to the point where when you would go to activate it, it would just be like, it was like slow. Even if you put fresh batteries in it, it was like the batteries were really low, and it just eventually like the light bulb was fading, and but it saw its use. It got beat up pretty bad. Then I remember there was the Anakin / Darth Vader color changing one. This came out, I think, with Revenge of the Sith. So it was a clear blade, and it would light up blue. You could press a button, it would turn red. And I'm guessing it just broke or something. I don't know, because I don't think I sold it. But yeah, it's just gone. I had this combo set. I forget what it's called off the top of my head. I just wrote combo set in my notes. You could just build all sorts of different things together. I had a lot of fun with that. My favorite of all of them, though, was the Force Action one. Just because you could have it compacted into the hilt and then just like... very cool. It was the closest thing to having like a legitimate lightsaber for me as a kid. And then now we're on to stuff that I actually do have. I have this C-3PO. These are the itty bitty Star Wars figures. C-3PO. I have Han Solo. I have this Luke Skywalker, but he's missing two things that he came with. His original lightsaber is long gone. It got replaced with one from some other figure. That figure is no longer with me. It did used to have the little bracer thing because his hand gets cut off. He's got that little thing that's like protecting his, stump. That got lost. It was a very small piece. And the oldest, and honestly, still my favorite, this little R2-D2. He is missing his drink tray because this is from Return of the Jedi when he's on Jabba's sail barge. He had the little thing, it would just like hit, and it would pin into the top of his head. Lost it. Don't know what happened to it. It's gone. But I still have that. And yeah. This piggy bank is from my late grandma's collection. One of the little things she had. You would put coins in the chimney, and either you could press the pipe on top or the door handle, and the coin would drop in, and then you would hear a few different phrases like, "Hey, where's the toilet paper? Is someone dying in here?" Or, "Help me, I'm falling." And then you just hear like a cartoon falling and splashing sound effect. toilet humor. It was the greatest thing to little me. Still is pretty funny. This is a more recent one. After God of War 2018 came out, I came across this. I think it was Best Buy that they had it there. So I got this little Kratos figure. Pretty cool. And now, my most prized stuff of all. This old Woody doll, it's actually a replacement for one that I had as a kid. I lost it because I would carry it. It was one of my toys that I carried everywhere. He was my favorite. And problem is, little kids don't always hold things correctly. I would hold him by the hat. And apparently I was just like carrying him, and then he fell out of the hat. I don't know how I didn't notice this weight change. How he suddenly became like several ounces lighter. But by the time we noticed, it was long gone. We could not find the damn thing. So I got this as a replacement. It was the same thing. So I had, for the longest time, I had two hats. I don't know what happened to the other hat. The other hat has been lost as well. Then this Buzz Lightyear. This is also a replacement because the original, I had this close friend at the time. He was moving out of state, and I gave it to him as, hey, I want you to have this. And he went off. That Buzz Lightyear is probably destroyed at this point, sadly. So I managed to find this one. I went crazy trying to find a replacement because no matter what I looked up, it was showing me the larger Buzz Lightyear from that released alongside the movie back in 1995. This is a smaller one, and the wings are removable. They don't pop out. So, regardless, I'm very happy to have it in my collection, as these were toys I originally had as a kid, and it's just, a nice sentimental thing to have. In 2010, when Toy Story 3 was coming out, I went to get a few toys from the line. I got the new Woody because he had a pull string. The original one I had was a button on the chest. And I thought that was fucking lame. So having one with a pull string that was a little more accurate was really cool. Then I got Jessie. I never had one aside from... I had this Toy Story... I'm just remembering this. I had a Toy Story set from Toy Story 2. It was small figures. They were like rubbery or something. There was Woody, Stinky Pete, Bullseye, Jessie. I think you could remove the hats. That was about it. And the arms were a little bit posable. And it wasn't from that set, but I had a couple of small Buzz Lightyears that also the wings came out. Those got destroyed. Long gone. Anyways. But yeah, as I was saying, Jessie never had one aside from that little thing. I'm glad I didn't get the one that came out with Toy Story 2, because if you look up the Toy Story 2 toy line, they look fucking awful. The first ones, yeah, they don't quite have the correct faces, but they're classic enough. The Toy Story 2 line was done by a different company, and they just look cursed. But yeah. Lastly, I got Buzz. This one, finally, it had pop-out wings that was closer to the movie as I had ever seen. And my next plan was to get Utility Belt Buzz. They released, even though he wasn't in the movie, they put out a Utility Belt Buzz. It had the, you pressed the belt and it lit up and made sounds, and it was very cool. And my this is another reason I need a time machine. My stupid ass was like, I'll just get the regular one. I'll come back for this. And when I came back for it, the next week, sold out everywhere. It's, ironically enough, retailers did not order enough dolls to meet demand, just like Toy Story. just like as I said in Toy Story 2, I mean. And you just couldn't find the damn thing anywhere. It was gone. People were just picking it up everywhere. And so, for the longest time, it seemed hopeless that I would ever obtain one. A couple years ago, I came across this holiday hero Buzz Lightyear. This is from 1998, I believe. It still had its original batteries in it, and it still worked. The batteries said they expired in 2002, but this was 2022 when I got it. So, good job, Energizer. Your batteries are fucking fantastic. Then again, they sat, untouched for years, but it's still amazing that it managed to hold enough of a charge that it outlasted its expiration date by 20 years. Incredible. And they did not leak. There was not even a microscopic little bit that I could see of battery acid in there. Fabulous. Great condition. And it's pretty cool. Apparently, I wanted this as a kid. I don't remember that at all, but it's a cool little thing. About a year or two later, I found the original 1995 Buzz Lightyear in box. It was about $100 at some antique store, and again, fabulous condition. It had been opened, but it was like practically mint. So it was very cool to have that. And then I got to my most prized of all. So previously in 2019, when Toy Story 4 came out, Target had a re-release of the signature collection Buzz Lightyear. So I grabbed it because it had the light-up wingtips, the wrist communicator opened, it was a little more accurate, and it was pretty cool to have. And I decided, if I have kids someday, they'll get the other three that I got. This one's mine. This one is my personal thing. Then, also in 2022, I managed to get a damaged utility belt Buzz Lightyear off of eBay for about $50. And I Frankensteined the two together, and bam! Finally in my collection after 12 long years. And the reason I couldn't get it, besides the fact that they went out of stock everywhere, is once they started popping up on eBay, people wanted hundreds of dollars for it. Even I think I saw a listing at one point. It was over $5,000 mint condition in the box. I am no. Unless I suddenly came into millions of dollars where I so much that I would never need money again in my life. That is the only reason I would ever buy something that expensive. I was it's not worth that. But I'm happy, and it was actually kind of cool because had I gotten it back then, it would have just been, oh, cool, I got this, boo-doo-doo. But this, I actually had to take them apart and swap the parts out and connect wires and yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I do have other collectibles, but they're less toys, and I decided not to bother putting them in here. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'd very much like those of you write in the comments, some toys you had as a kid, and stuff like that. I'd love to hear your toy stories. And see you next time.